Hey, Shalawam. Let me see. Make sure everything is good. Yep, Shalawam. It's your brother Yahawashi. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. I want to say Shalawam to all the brothers, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. I'm going to respond to some clips. We're going to tie them all together. Okay, I think I titled this lesson "We're Vexed but Vindicated," because at the same time, man, we see the evil that's going on. We see the mindset of our people. We know the causes of it. We know that the Lord gave us over to this affliction that we're in. Okay, but at the same time, we know the end of the story too. We know that all these things that frustrate us are going to be made right. We know that as well. Hey, Shalawam, sister. Okay, so yeah, we're vexed from day to day with the filthy conversation of the wicked, the same way Lot was vexed in Sodom and Gomorrah. But at the same time, we're comforted in the spirit because we know that this has an end, and we know the end result is going to be the kingdom of heaven being established. I got some clips I want to respond to, which I'm gonna play this one, and some of these clips gonna be about women, but it applies to the mindset of the whole nation. Okay, and I'm gonna tie that in with the precepts as we go along. So let's watch this first one here. I'm gonna make it big from the screen for y'all, and let's see what this yeah, let's see what this got to say right here. Let's see. I'm not listening to man. I'm so sorry. If you was in a long-term relationship with a man, would you want him to take full control over the health and wellness in that relationship? No. No? Why is he telling me what to do? What if he knows a lot more about fitness and health? He doesn't. No? I'm not listening to man. I'm so sorry. Why not? Because why is he not listening to me? Let's just say if you was in a relationship with me and I wanted to get you in better fitness, would you listen to me? How much money does your company make a year? Like, I think that's the question. Like, if I'm listening to you, like, the paycheck needs to match the advice you're giving me. So, like, a Fortune 500 company, okay, I'll listen. Because I'm getting paid to listen at that point. Okay, so what if you had type 2 diabetes and I wanted to help you reverse that? Would you listen to me then? Well, you can't reverse type 2 diabetes, unfortunately. Why do you say that? Well, you can ease the symptoms with lifestyle changes, but like you can't really get rid of it 100%. We don't even really know what causes diabetes, genetically speaking. Most of type 2 diabetes come from being overweight to obese and having an excess of if you're trying so you're trying to get your woman in shape, but like where are their standards coming from? Those standards are coming from the man having higher standards and health and wellness than you do. So if he's able with that man, I'm so sorry. If he's able to communicate that to you, he can improve your health and wellness and for you to live a longer, healthier lifestyle. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed. Also, she equated value and knowledge. Her standard is the so-called white man, okay? Which is majority of our whole nation's standard of success and how to be in their measurement of what's good and bad is the so-called white man, okay? So our people, a spell has been casted on the minds of the people, okay? Because they refuse to turn to the Lord. They refuse to, uh, become new creatures and give their time to righteousness. We always make the statement that you are what you give your time to. I'm going to read a couple precepts here. I want to go to Isaiah 42 and start at 23 in the G&T. Check this out. It reads, "Will any of you listen to this? From now on will you listen with care? Who gave Israel up to the looters? The Lord did. It was the Lord himself against whom we sinned. We would not live as he wanted us to live or obey the teachings he gave us. So he made us feel the force of his anger and suffer the violence of war. Like fire, his anger burned throughout Israel, but we never knew what was happening. We learned nothing at all from it." On the flip side, the elect, we do see the big picture and the full scope of why people think the way they think, why they move the way that they move. Okay? We know the root causes all these things. Our disobedience, the Lord allowed us to be given over to the devices of the wicked, to the philosophy of the wicked. We drunk of his wine. You want to worship other gods? Here's all that comes with it: death. All right? Now I want to
link this clip with this one. All right, let's watch this one really quick.
So you're basically saying that money replaces fatherhood, and you know what that is? No, it's funny because that is the conclusion that most Western women come to.
So the woman in the previous clip, she came to the conclusion that I don't need a man. Why would I be listening to a man? Money is my God, and if I'm going to listen to any man, it's going to be the so-called white man. That's why she said, "Is it a Fortune 500 company?" All right. So, in the minds of most Israelites, when it comes to actually submitting to a male authority, they can't conceive doing it to anybody but a white man. That's why a so-called white man could walk through the most malicious of ghettos and be fine. Okay? An elderly Jake, a Jake that is he's lived life, he has wisdom to impart to the younger generation. He could come in the neighborhood and them damn YNs will whoop his ass. Right? But let a older white man or a police officer come in the neighborhood and say, hey, y'all need to do this, Jake will sit there and hold his peace. They may not agree or want to, but they'll sit there and have respect at least. The spell that's on the minds of our people will stick, which is why we know we're not going to reach all of our people. That's why it's a foolish thing when you see these Israelite groups talking about, oh, we got to get all our people back. No, 2/3 of our people, they're just pieces of shit. And they're the same spirits that were murmuring in the wilderness. They're the same spirits that killed the prophets. They're the same spirits that said, crucify him, crucify him. So at the end of the day, they have a judgment allotted to them anyway. Everybody has a lot in this walk. It's some men's lot to stand in great boldness and teach the word, stand stiffly against the evil, all right? And those who are standing stiffly against the evil, as the scriptures say, he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. So there's some men who are going to stand for righteousness and be looked at in a bad way in this society. But there's some men who are going to go along to get along. They're going to forward the evil that the devil has pushed on us. They're going to be pawns of the wicked. 2/3 of our people, man, it's their lot. They're just pawns of the wicked. So they perpetuate these mindsets that are counterproductive to life. Let's continue on here. I'm going to start this clip from the beginning. Start it from the beginning. She said, that's why we shouldn't vote. Well, really, think about democracy as a whole. Would you put democracy in the category of something that's righteous? Is that a righteous form of government? With all these people and the different gods that they worship, everybody just can vote and have a say? Democracy is wicked. Think about it. You have all these people who worship these other gods and have these mindsets that don't align with righteousness, voting on the judgments that should be made within the society. Those who are guided by the standard that the Lord has set, that's who should be in leadership. That's just at the end of the day. And the Lord's going to do that with the elect of the nation. He's going to put the laws within our inward parts. That's written in Jeremiah 31. I wonder how it sounds in the G&T. I wonder how they articulated it. Let's go see. Let's go to Jeremiah 31 and 33 in the G&T. Let's see how they wrote it down. See if they got it right. And, as a side note, man, ask yourself, who's the chief authority on the scriptures in the earth? Is it the blue letter? Or is it the men in the Lord? Okay? The vessels that the Lord set up. Some people, they'll go to the concordance. Well, the concordance says this. A lot of the apologists and people that like to debate the scriptures, that's like, well, it says this. This is what it says. This is what the concordance. It's not spiritual. This isn't a book that you can pigeonhole. The understanding, the fullness of the understanding is going to be with the men that the Lord set up. You got to have faith to believe that. Okay? It's just what it is. You see it. Hey, Shalawam to everybody coming in on the comment board. All right. Now, this Jeremiah 31 and 33, and this is in the GNT. We spoke about the laws being written within the inward parts of the whole nation of Israel, which is going to make us fit to rule and judge. All right. Because some people, you get so stuck in the mind frame of Esau. You've seen all these movies where there's really no such thing as a perfect people or a righteous government. You just, in your mind, you might think, well, I can't. Is it really gonna be yes. All right. Jeremiah 31 and 33. The new covenant that I will make with the people of Israel will be this. Okay, we're getting it right so far. I will put my law within them and write it on their hearts. And in the Hebrew, you got the word la'ab, right, which is the mind. La'ab. When I think about that word, it makes me think of like a lobe, like frontal lobe. I will be their God, possessive pronouns, and they will be my people. None of them will have to teach a neighbor to know the Lord, because they all will know me, from the least to the greatest. I will forgive their sins, and I will no longer remember their wrongs. I, the Lord, have spoken. All right, so upon us receiving the new bodies, the same new body that Yahawashi received, all right, when he rose, the same body that he had when he in the incarnation when he was Melchizedek, who had no father or mother. We're gonna have that same kind of vessel, man. Abba, Rataza get to be a part of that number. Okay, now continuing on. All right. Actually, that's all I wanted on that. All right, so I ran that clip, and just to tie the point home with those two clips, I'm gonna run this clip, and I think I got two more clips after. Let's see here. Let's get them going.
I know the man who recruited me, and I knew the professors that I was working with. Nobody else.
So when the so-called white man wants to take down a country or demoralize a country, it's the same old tactics that he often makes. Okay, now this is a woman who wasn't born in the Middle East, but you know, America has U.S. embassies in most countries, and what they'll do is they'll set up revolutions or movements in particular countries to destabilize the moral compass of the people there. All right, so this is a woman who was set up to be, I don't know which country she was in the Middle East, but they do this a lot to the state, and she's going to explain it. So so you can understand, a lot of times when these movements pop up and trends start happening, so people are trying to have this cause that they're fighting for, most of the time it's manufactured. It's not organic. Okay, let's watch this from the beginning. Let's go.
I know the man who recruited me, and I knew the professors
CIA.
working with. Nobody else. All I know is they were paying for everything, and they had already set up my job in the American Embassy for when I graduated with international law. So maybe like 7 years down the line.
The Western organization's biggest goal in teaching their members the Quran and Hadith to the point where they can manipulate the Quran and Hadith and change the minds of the Islamic community.
What they wanted was the power and the control. They also recognized that, because I did question, why are we targeting feminism and women? And their answer is, if you destroy a man, you destroy a man. If you destroy a woman, you destroy the generations that come after her. So they become less practicing of Islam. They become weaker and more focused on the dunya and not on the akhirah. These people can be easily manipulated and moved and done whatever they want to do with them. They don't care if these people go to Jannah or Jahannam. What they care about is we can control them, we can manipulate them, we can make this society do what we want them to do. You know, there's an old saying that the strongest way to control people is sex, drugs, and music. And by music, it means like all of media. So utilizing these things, you keep people doing what you want to do or focused on life, so the ones in power can do whatever they want to do. And you don't notice it and you don't care because you're focused on, I need this car, I need to be beautiful, I need to, like now, I need the likes, I need whatever it is that I need that is dunya oriented.
So what changed in you? Can you tell?
All right, this is Isaiah. Give me a second. All right, this is Isaiah 3 and 12. Let